needs financing. It was described before. And for many, many years, one very, very thick wall, but one very, very distinct red line that separated many developing countries, but in particular here from the benefits of nuclear energy, was finance. And this has been a problem that has been plaguing nuclear energy development in many parts of the world. Last year, a page was turned when, after consultations with the World Bank, and I want to give a shout out to the president of the World Bank, Ajay Banga, who believed in that change could be possible. We were able to sign a historic agreement, the IAEA and the World Bank, whereby now it is possible that the doors of international finance institutions open up for nuclear as well. It is very simple, but it was not happening. When countries came to multilateral banks, development banks, finance institutions, in many cases, believe it or not, there was a prohibition. Nuclear was not to be financed. And so that was making this gap even bigger and wider and unfairer, if I can say it. But this has changed. And of course, as always, when the World Bank Group takes a direction, then the tone and the melody has changed. And very, very quickly, a number of other institutions, starting with the Asian Development Bank, we signed an agreement in Manila in December, the Latin American Development Bank, and now, of course, I can tell you that we are in a very advanced stage of conversations with the African Development Bank. So we can also bring the possibilities of financing to Africa. The Islamic Development Bank, we do have agreements with them. So all these possibilities are there. And what this does is the very important psychological and also economical barrier of de-risking achievable. So when we can have projects that are, the magic word, bankable, then things become possible. Then an SMR becomes something that is a real possibility. So this is the other big chapter I wanted to highlight for you, Mr. President, Madam President. The finance is there. And what is happening, just to explain what these agreements are for, is that when one of our countries, your countries, will be coming to the African Development Bank or to the World Bank proper with an idea of a certain project, then the World Bank will have a partner in the IEA to turn to make sure that the normative, the safety, the security, the non-proliferation package is there to bring this confidence which is indispensable. So this is why we are so happy that we are also turning this page. The existence of important and strong regulators is, again, an area, and I want to congratulate Rwanda, because the Rwanda Atomic Energy Board is there, and the Rwandan Nuclear Authority is there, and they are providing this regulatory capacity, which is indispensable. So, as we can see, the elements are finally aligning for us to move from the declaratory speeches. Can be very nice, but what we need is a reality that changes the lives of people out there. And this is what we need. And this is what you as presidents and heads of state want for your countries. And nuclear energy can be a part of that. Will it be the only thing? Will it be the thing? No. It is one important element in intelligent energy grids. We are seeing all over the world problems that are associated with climate, problems that are associated with situations, political, why not say it, geopolitical situations, when all of a sudden overdependence on external sources of energy become a problem, become a blocking obstacle for economic development. And nuclear gives us that. So all these elements, I believe, give us an alternative, an option, which is what we really want. If I may, to conclude these remarks, and thanking you, Mr. President, and thanking for this conference that is slowly becoming a landmark in the yearly calendar of global meetings on nuclear energy. I think it's important to highlight what we have done here in Rwanda since last year when we last saw each other. I think it's nice that when we come a year after an event, we have to show for. Since the last time we saw each other, we have been working with the Rwandese experts on a national evaluation, which we are going to be handing over to you, Mr. President, today. So thank you for this opportunity. You know that the international community, and in particular our African friends, colleagues and partners, can count on the support of the IAEA every step of the way. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we have now is Mr. Rafael Grossi is going to be handing over a report to His Excellency Paul Kagame. And of course, this is the IEA Phase 1 Integrated Nuclear Infrastructure Report. And the significance of this is quite important, ladies and gentlemen. The successful completion of the Phase 1 review is an important milestone for Rwanda's long-term energy and development agenda, and a strong signal as we talk about signals of the country's continued focus on innovation and sustainability. More importantly, Rwanda is now moving on to Phase 2 activities, including discussions with vendors and partners. That's a big round of applause. Thank you, Mr. President. A final round of applause. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. Grossi. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, in the moment, a direct expression that, yes, indeed, we have moved beyond explanations. We have moved beyond advocacy. It is about action, and it is about bridging ambition with these levers that we identify in the next 2 days that get us to that action. Now, as African nations explore the next generation of energy systems, of leadership and strategic foresight, all of these remain incredibly essential. And so our next speaker speaks to all of these themes and more. It's my absolute privilege to welcome Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania.
Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, Excellencies, heads of state and government, honorable ministers, Your Excellency Rafael Miariano Grossi, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, distinguished representatives of international organizations, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to His Excellency Paul Kagame, government and the people of Rwanda for the warm hospitality extended to me and my delegation since our arrival in the land of Southern Hills. Also, thank you. Also, allow me to commend organizers of the Nuclear Energy Innovation Summit for Africa, NESA 2026, for convening this critical gathering under the theme, Powering Africa's Future, Turning Nuclear Energy Ambition into Investable Reality. Africa's economic transformation depends fundamentally on reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy systems. Across our continent, growing industrialization, rapid urbanization, expanding digital infrastructure, and increasing demand for manufacturing and mining activities require stable base load power capable of supporting long-term development. However, in considering future nuclear energy programs, several important issues must be addressed collectively. First is financing, which still remains a major challenge, and thanks to Gross, who told us that financing is there, but then the architecture has to be suitable for African countries. Africa needs innovative financing mechanisms, blending financing models and risk-sharing arrangements capable of making nuclear projects bankable and accessible. Second is regulatory preparedness and capacity, which are very essential. Safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear technology requires a strong regulatory system, skilled human resources, effective safety oversight, and adherence to international standards. Tanzania appreciates the important role being played by the International Atomic Energy Agency and other international partners in supporting African countries in these areas. Third, public confidence and awareness is critical to allay fears of nuclear threats and leverage on its opportunities. African citizenry should be aware and fully understand both the opportunities and responsibilities associated with nuclear energy development. Transparency, safety, environmental protection, and responsible governance must remain at the heart of all nuclear programs. Excellencies, Tanzania strongly believes that regional cooperation is essential for Africa's successful nuclear energy future. Thanks to President Kagame for championing the coordination of the nuclear agenda in Africa. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Through these partnerships with international organizations and peers, Tanzania looks forward to learning from global experiences and strengthening cooperation in nuclear energy transition. Now allow me also to recall the successful African Energy Summit held in Dar es Salaam in January 2025, which brought together African leaders, development partners, financial institutions, and private sector stakeholders to advance the continent's energy agenda. The summit adopted the Dar es Salaam Energy Declaration, which reaffirmed African collective commitment to accelerate access to reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy as a foundation for economic transformation and industrial development. The Dar es Salaam Declaration recognized further that no single energy solution can adequately address Africa's growing demand, and therefore encouraged African countries to pursue balanced and resilient energy strategies tailored to national circumstances. This discussion here in Kigali seamlessly complements the commitments made in Dar es Salaam by focusing on how emerging nuclear technology can contribute to Africa's broader transition and long-term energy security. Nuclear energy should not be as competing with renewable energy, but rather as a competing broader effort to build the resilient, sustainable, and reliable energy system capable of supporting industrial transformation across our continent. Needless to say that this platform provides an important opportunity For Africa to move from ambition to implementation, we must continue working together to create an enabling environment that supports investment, strengthening institutions, and build the technical capacity that this platform provides an important opportunity. Excellencies, talking again of my country, in Tanzania, electricity demand continues to grow in line with the national development priorities under the country's Development Vision 2050. Our installed electricity generation capacity today exceeds 4,500 megawatts, while national demand is projected 8,000 megawatts by 2030, 20,000 megawatts by 2050. And it is in this context that Tanzania is advancing nuclear energy of our long-term strategy to diversify our energy mix and support sustainable economic growth. To effort, we have developed an ambitious national roadmap for nuclear power development to support additional 1,000 decade in alignment with the International Atomic Energy Agency milestones approach. We also formulated the National Nuclear Energy Implementation Organization, or we call it NEPIO, to oversee the preparation and implementation of nuclear power program as required by IAEA. And so, in furtherance of the energy generation systems, we are particularly interested in understanding the opportunities presented by emerging technologies such as small modular reactors and micromodular reactors, which are increasingly being considered globally as scalable, flexible, and potentially suitable solutions for developing countries. In conclusion, I wish to reaffirm Tanzania's commitment in working closely with African partners, international institutions, development finance organizations, and the private sector to explore peaceful and sustainable nuclear energy opportunities that contribute meaningfully to Africa's prosperity and energy security. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and of course, reminding us of the importance of a public confidence and awareness. And that, of course, sets us up beautifully for one of the conversations that we'll be having in the afternoon, which really looks at public trust and the public trust dialogues that are going to be hosted as part of NESA 2026. Now, distinguished guests, our next speaker has consistently emphasized infrastructure, industrialization, and regional integration as central pillars to Africa's transformation. Please help me welcome with a warm round of applause His Excellency Fore Esozima Nyansimbe, the President of the Council of Togo.
Excellence, Monsieur Paul Kagame, Président de la République du Rwanda, hôte de ce sommet. Excellence, Madame Samia Suluhu Hassan, Présidente de la République unie de Tanzanie, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs de délégation, Monsieur Raphaël Grossi, Directeur général de l'Agence internationale de l'énergie atomique, Mesdames et Messieurs les directeurs généraux de grandes institutions du nucléaire mondial, Mesdames et Messieurs les investisseurs, les partenaires techniques et financiers, Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants des institutions financières, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs. Je voudrais avant toute chose exprimer au président Paul Kagame et au peuple frère du Rwanda la reconnaissance du peuple togolais, reconnaissance pour l'hospitalité, reconnaissance pour le courage de la vision. Reconnaissance pour ce leadership qui, une fois encore, ouvre à notre continent un chemin que d'autres pensaient impraticable. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, il existe dans la vie des continents des moments où l'on ne se contente plus de constater, des moments où il faut décider. Kigali, ce matin, est l'un de ces moments, car la vérité est devant nous. Près d'un Africain sur deux n'a toujours pas accès à une électricité fiable. Le continent africain représente une part croissante de la population mondiale. Nos villes vont continuer de croître. Nos besoins industriels vont augmenter. Nos économies vont se numériser. Et tout cela exige une énergie que nous ne pouvons plus raisonnablement espérer obtenir des seules sources que nous mobilisons aujourd'hui. Permettez-moi alors, dans le temps qui m'est imparti, de faire 3 remarques simples, 3 questions auxquelles l'Afrique et ce sommet doivent répondre. La première question est celle de la lucidité. Sommes-nous aujourd'hui prêts à reconnaître ensemble que les énergies renouvelables, aussi essentielles soient-elles, ne suffiront plus à elles seules à porter notre industrialisation? Au Togo, comme dans beaucoup de pays, nous croyons au solaire, nous croyons aussi à l'hydraulique. Nous éclairons déjà des centaines de villages par des mini-réseaux. Mais nous sommes aussi conscients que les industries de transformation, les centres de données, l'intelligence artificielle, le numérique africain de demain exigent une électricité continue, décarbonée, compétitive en électricité de base. Sur ce terrain, le nucléaire civil, et singulièrement les petits réacteurs modulaires et les micro-réacteurs, n'est plus une option lointaine. C'est une option, nous dit-on, mature. La Banque mondiale a levé son interdiction historique de financer le nucléaire. La COP et les institutions financières ont validé cette technologie parce qu'elle a changé. Le contexte aussi a changé. À nous, désormais, de changer de regard. La deuxième question est celle de la responsabilité. Que faisons-nous concrètement pour que cette ambition devienne réalité? Le Togo, pour sa part, a choisi modestement d'agir. Membre de l'AIEA depuis 2012, la loi nationale sur l'usage sûr, sécurisé et pacifique du nucléaire a été adoptée. Création en janvier 2025 de notre commissariat à l'énergie atomique, élection au Conseil des gouverneurs de l'AIEA pour 2025-2027 et tout récemment à Vienne, signature de nouveaux cadres de coopération avec l'agence pour les 5 prochaines années. Nous avons en outre engagé l'exploration des acteurs des zones accordées, les conventions internationales de pas institutionnelles qui comptent pas attendre. C'est mentir nucléaire sous le signe absolu et de la transparence. La troisième question est celle de l'exigence commune. En affaires, que le ne pourra rester seul. Utiliser la relation à nos demandes. Construire pour la première fois un cadre africain de financement du nucléaire avec les banques de développement, les fonds souverains, les investisseurs privés. Sans ce cadre, l'ambition risque de rester lettre morte. Et puis surtout, former massivement, scientifiques, ingénieurs, techniciens, régulateurs, juristes. Notre jeunesse, et particulièrement nos jeunes filles, doit être au cœur de cette aventure. Le nucléaire africain ne sera pas un nucléaire importé. Il sera un nucléaire pensé, opéré et gouverné par les Africains au service des Africains. Monsieur le Président, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, l'Afrique ne demande pas qu'on lui fasse l'aumône d'une technologie. L'Afrique propose plutôt un partenariat. L'Afrique propose un marché. L'Afrique propose une vision adulte de sa propre énergie. Nous disposons des ressources. Nous disposons de l'uranium. Nous avons la demande. Nous avons aussi la volonté politique. Ce qui nous manque encore, ce sont les instruments financiers à la hauteur de notre ambition et un récit international qui cesse de considérer le nucléaire africain comme un horizon improbable ou même impossible, pour reconnaître ce qu'il est en train de devenir, c'est-à-dire un horizon possible, probable et pourquoi pas imminent. Faisons donc de NESA 2026 le sommet où l'Afrique a cessé de débattre du si pour s'organiser autour du comment et du quand, le sommet du basculement entre les intentions et les investissements. Mon pays y prendra toute sa part, avec rigueur, avec humilité, dans le respect des standards les plus élevés de sûreté, de sécurité et de non-prolifération, et en panafricain convaincu. Je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for the reminder that Africa's nuclear agenda will not be an imported agenda. It will be grounded, executed, and capacitated in Africa by Africans. Thank you, Your Excellency. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our host nation has positioned itself at the forefront of conversations and action around innovation, technology, climate resilience, and long-term energy planning. To deliver our keynote address, please help me welcome with a warm round of applause His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda.
Excellency, for Esozuma Nyasimbe, President of the Republic of Togo, Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellency, my friend Mahmoud Issouf, former President of the Republic of Niger, former Chair of the African Union Commission, my friend Musa Faki, Raphael Grossi, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by welcoming you all to Kigali and thank the leaders here present for honoring our invitation and all the work they do for the importance of this topic we are discussing today. In fact, a number of other leaders had intended to be with us, but they couldn't make it. Either they were here last week or they are in some other places attending to some important assignments. I also thank them. From the outset, NISA was designed to bring together leaders, experts, and partners to advance Africa's nuclear energy goals. The strong participation here today reflects a growing consensus that the future of our economies depends on how quickly we solve the energy challenge. Rwanda is pleased to have successfully completed the IAEA's Phase 1 Integrated Nuclear Infrastructure Review. We intend to have nuclear energy operational by the early 2030s. And this assessment confirms that we are on track. For Africa, energy is not simply a development issue. It is the foundation of industrial growth and competitiveness. Modern manufacturing, mineral processing, digital infrastructure, and advanced healthcare all depend on reliable power. The rapid expansion of artificial intelligence and the data-driven industries will also significantly increase energy consumption. Countries that cannot meet this demand will struggle to compete. This is why Rwanda considers nuclear energy a critical component of Africa's long-term transformation. As more countries move in this direction, international reviews and regulatory processes should not become barriers, but instead offer the necessary support. For Rwanda, small modular reactors represent the most practical way forward. They are better suited to the realities of most African countries because they can be deployed gradually and integrated into smaller grids at a lower cost. Renewable energy will remain indispensable, particularly solar and hydro, where Africa has enormous potential. But our economies cannot function efficiently on intermittent supply alone. At the center of this endeavor is the question of investment. Too often, investors hesitate because they perceive many risks in Africa. We must work to strengthen regulation, ensure consistency and accountability in order to build confidence and attract long-term capital. The international financing environment is also evolving. Nuclear energy is increasingly recognized as part of the clean energy transition, and that creates new opportunities. What Africa cannot afford is fragmentation. If countries work in isolation, progress will be slow and far more costly. Cooperation on regulation, financing, and regional power integration is essential. This is precisely why NESA matters. We are moving the conversation beyond ambition to practical coordination and financing mechanisms that can sustain deployment at scale. Rwanda will remain and will continue supporting these efforts because this is larger than any one country. By 2050, Africa will have the largest workforce in the world. The demographic shift can become one of the greatest economic advantages of this century if we prepare for it. In this regard, we are delighted that Togo will host the next NESA and carry forward this continental momentum. I also once again wish to thank Rafael Grossi of YETU for the kind support this effort, and also for this matters to our continent and how we can continue moving forward. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, thank you for a clear and forward-looking message, and of course, for highlighting the continued momentum as NESA 2027 makes its way to Togo. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now rise to allow their Excellencies, the heads of state, to depart, after which we will resume our program. If you would kindly please join me in rising in a final round of applause as they make their way out of the hall. Thank you very much. I appreciate your kind attention. You are welcome to take your seats. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, we are now ready for our very first panel of NESA 2026, and this panel is focused on the question of global leadership perspectives on financing Africa's nuclear energy future. And of course, the key question that we're wanting to ask here is, how do we transform ambition into bankable, investable reality? What we do know and what we've heard from our heads of state and leaders of international organizations is that Africa's energy future will require unprecedented levels of capital mobilization. We've heard that it will require public-private collaboration and certainly a revived and reimagined approach to risk mitigation and long-term financial partnerships. This next dialogue brings together global leaders from the nuclear sector, development finance institutions, and international organizations to discuss how Africa can unlock these financing pathways. Moderating this session, won't you please give a warm round of applause to Mr. Daniel Poneman, the Chair for Nuclear Energy Policy at the Atlantic Council's Global Energy Center. Let's give Mr. Poneman a big round of applause, please. Yes. And as Mr. Poneman comes up, I'm going to also welcome his distinguished panelists who will be joining him in a short while. Please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Sama Bilbao-Leon, the Director General of the World Nuclear Association. Thank you, Madam. Please help me welcome Mr. William D. Magwood, the fourth, which is the Director General of the OECD Nuclear Energy Agency. Thank you, sir, for being here. Ambassador Sylvie Berman, thank you, Ambassador, for being here, who is the Ambassador of the World Nuclear Exhibition and also the President of the African Bank. Sergi, thank you for being here. And the Acting General of everyone on as ask you in much. To medical made available to the participants. They are coming out. Thank you very much. I'm also going to remind everyone that we do have simultaneous interpretation available for you. Again, a quick reminder of the channels there, that on English is channel 1, and that on channel 2 is French, and Kiswahili will be on channel 3. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Poneman in a short while. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good morning, everyone. Try it again. Good morning, everyone.